Welcome back to Community Matters. We're talking about the 31st Annual International Festival. Please welcome Stuart Arnold, president of Fortnight Brewing in Cary, and Dino Rodazza, owner of White Street Brewing Company in Wake Forest. First of all, welcome, and boy, do you got cool jobs. I mean, what great jobs do you have?
I don't even know if it could be considered a job. It's just
no, I don't
fun.
think
That's
so.
right.
I don't think so, but thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's nothing cool in a brewery when it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And
Yes, you're probably right about that. I'm the end user, so what do I know? But let's start with the festival itself. Is this the first time you guys, your companies have been represented, or how about you?
It will be my first time representing, yes.
Yeah, what attracted you to the festival?
It was actually, we got a personal invite by the operators, the owners, and as soon as it said international and it mentioned Cask Beer, it was just a no-brainer for me. I like to talk about cask more than anything else.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to get a couple questions on that. How about you, Dino?
Same thing. We got an invite, and certain to be able to be part of something like that, international, where people are looking to experience different flavors, certainly a great chance to highlight some of the stuff that White Street does. So we're very excited to be a part of it.
Well, let's talk about Cask Beer. As I said, I'm an end user. I don't know really what you're talking about. So, Stuart, tell me, what is it?
Well, Cask Beer, believe it or not, is served in a very few places in America at the moment. But back in the 16th century, it was the only way to drink beer. Not a lot of Americans know that, and this is what I like to educate people on this. It was either bottles or it was casks. And cask beer just meant that it was fermented in one of these vessels over here, which we import from England. The regular kegs that you'll see everywhere in pubs are just straightforward, and they have not pasteurized, they have filtered and forced carbonated beer put into them. The difference between cask ale is that it's actually put into there when it's finished its first stage of fermentation, and then we add some sugar and some yeast and we let it re-ferment again, but this time we don't let the CO2 escape. So it self-carbonates itself and gives a much smoother drink. And it's served at cellar temperature, which is typically around about 54 to 56 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you get an American typically that goes to England, they'll say, this beer is warm and flat. Well, they've not had warm and flat beer, they've had cask beer, and they're used to drinking extremely cold and extremely fizzy beer.
Well, Dino, I got a feeling that Stuart doesn't think you know how to make a cask.
Well, I'm feeling like I have to defend Americans. I think
so.
No, it's all good. Stuart's exactly right. With a cask, it is certainly much more traditional. It is not what many American beer drinkers are used to having. In fact, the phrase that Stuart used, we'll do casks for our tap room and try to do something special. And people are very excited about trying it. And if they've never had it, they do unfortunately tend to say, it's kind of flat and warm, and well, it's this little bit of a different style. So, but they do offer a great opportunity to do something a little fun. For a brewery like White Street that does not do a lot of casks, this is where our brewers can experiment a little bit because they are doing a re-fermentation, like Stuart mentioned. It gives them a chance to take a beer that we made, like in our case, we're going to be using a porter, and do something a little fun and different with it. So it's a great creative outlet for our brewers.
Well, Stuart, you do that too.
Well,
at Fortnight.
We're very traditional, and having lived in America for so long, I realised that over 99% of the cask beers that you get over here are not made in the traditional way, and that's fine. These Americans have just taken older cask beer and decided to put their angle on it. And the American angle typically means take a finished beer and then add something to the cask, like bananas or marshmallows or something like that. But the traditional, I've known some strange, really strange ingredients.
No, it was not a compliment.
I didn't think so.
and traditionally in England, all that happens is it has a secondary fermentation. And the nice thing about if you go to our brewery, for example, we'll taste the keg version and the cask version. And the keg version is the one that's been forced carbonated and chilled, and the cask version is the one that I explained earlier. And believe it or not, the two beers actually taste totally different, even though they came from the same fermentation vessel. And that's something that you can't do with an American take on it, because it's just one cask and it's out there. You can't compare it to the original beer. So we just like to stay true to our roots, because it's quite an involved process. It took my brewer 2 years to actually learn how to produce the casks properly.
And that's what's happening at your company. How about yours? You're very traditional. Do you try to break that limit? Or?
Well, we brew, we don't make a lot of casks as part of our normal course of beer. So White Street's vision is to create what we call authentically styled beers. In our case, for example, if we choose to make a particular style, in this case our Kolsch, let's say, a German lager, we're going to make it as authentic as we think it can be or should be for that style. So we don't really have an opportunity to do a lot of casks. Kolsch is not a good cask beer to do something with. But so White Street's vision is a little bit different. We do, of course, make the forced carbonated filtered beers. We do some casks, but we focus more on traditional styles for our general production. I've talked to a lot of people who really enjoy the end product, but also want to get involved in like microbreweries and that sort of thing. Are you guys surprised at just the overall interest by not only the consumer, but those who want to make it?
We were talking about this before, and I think Dino can...
I think Stu's going to let me take the fall on this one. We're not surprised. There are a lot of people who certainly enjoy beer, the end users, as you say. Maybe they've branched into home brewing. Right now, if you're not aware, there's a craft beer renaissance, if you will, going on in the country. We now have more breweries than at any time in history, which may not seem impressive, but the previous high water mark was way back in the late 1800s when, of course, there was no refrigeration. The only way you were going to get beer is if someone made it pretty well nearby. So the fact that we have as many as we have, a lot of people are piling on to what you're saying. There's a lot of folks out there who maybe brewed it at home and all their friends said it was really good, and they're going to go ahead and make a brewery. So I can't say that I'm surprised. I can say that the consumer certainly has a lot of choices, and there is a lot of good beer out there. Not all of it is, but there's a lot of good beer for the consumer to try right now.
Oh, that's great. Well, to both of you, I appreciate you taking time for us today. And you're going to be out at the festival, so they can come see you and check out what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right.
Looking
Well,
forward.
thank you. Well, we'll take a look at some of the traditional wedding outfits featured in the festival's new Wedding Traditions Around the World event. Stay with us.